Hello my friends, welcome to another Global Stampin' Video Hop. This month is October 2024 and my name is Linda Dolke. I'm a demonstrator here in Australia, and today our theme, or this month our theme, is paper, which really it's a very broad theme, and I thought, goodness me, I don't even know where to start. I had a few ideas, but what I thought I would do today is to show you how you can use paper in place of stamps to create a theme for your card. So recently I was invited to a baby shower and I made this card. Now I haven't got the actual card because I gave it away at the baby shower, but luckily I took a photo of it before I went, and this is the card that I made. So I realized when I was invited to the baby shower and went to make a card that I don't have any baby stamps. I just don't. Maybe in the future my life will change and I'll have more need of those, but right now I don't have them. So I thought, well, how am I going to create a baby card? Now, we did know it was a boy, so I thought, well, I can start working with some different blues. And I also have an alphabet set. So I was able to create the word baby with my a la carte alphabet die set. So I created those in Night of Navy cardstock. And you might be able to see I've got behind here a layer of vellum. It's actually the vellum from, I don't know if you can see it here. Oh, there's a sequin on it. I don't know what that's doing there. But anyway, this is, hopefully you can see it, like it's a specialty vellum that's in one of our online exclusives from a couple of months ago. It's still available. And I use that behind my baby sentiment. Okay. And then just all the different shades of blues. To me, that said baby pretty well. Okay. And baby boy specifically. So I thought, well, maybe I should do something else. Now, we do have some beautiful new pinks coming out next month. And I was thinking that I could easily create, with this set. It has pink and reds in it, but this is called Marbled Elegance. And this paper is going to be coming out in November for customers. Demonstrators can get it now. You can see the little roses here on the back. I mean, how nice would it be to have that same sort of squares in these different colors? So we've got the gold and the pink and white here. Got roses on the back, and there's a few other ones. Some of them are a bit more red, but there's some of them that have got, like, this is a different one again. This is some more pinks. And you can see there's Melon Mambo and Flirty Flamingo in there. So you could easily create a beautiful baby girl card with lots of different pinks and those beautiful swirls of gold through that beautiful paper. And I may do that down the track. But today I'm going to do something else. I'm going to create a Christmas card with paper, but not with stamps. Okay, now I may still use stamps. I haven't decided yet whether I want to use stamps for the actual sentiment. But the rest of the card will just be created with paper squares. And I'm using this paper that's called, I think it's meant to be said take a bow, but of course, maybe it's meant to be take a bow. I'm not sure. But it's the one that goes with the dies, and it actually makes a beautiful bow with the dies. Now, there are quite a lot. There's 6x6 paper, 48 sheets, and there's 4 different designs, 12 of each. So there's quite a lot of each particular design in this one. So the colors in it are garden green, real red, and granny apple green. Those are the colors in this paper. So you can see the garden green there with a bit of granny apple in the middle. And on the back, we've got those same 3 colors, like lots of dots, rows of dots. Okay, so you can see there's lots and lots of those. And then there's quite a lot of these ones, red and green, like a crisscross. And then on the back, garden green with little granny apple green spots. And then this one has garden green leaves with real red berries. That's very Christmassy, isn't it? And on the back of that, you've got your candy stripes. That's really nice. And this one, I decided not to use this one today, but this is like red and green diagonal stripes. And on the back of that, we have the red and white dots, which I really like this one. I think that's really fresh, really lovely looking. So let me combine these. So we're going to make a very similar card to the other one, but we're going to make a Christmas card with color, basically. So instead of using lots of different Christmas elements, we're just going to have reds and greens, which in itself very often spells color or means color. So I'm going to start layering these up. I haven't decided where I want them all to go yet, but we'll work that out as we go along. I've got a piece of white cardstock here. This is the basic white just plain old basic white, not the thick paper, just the plain basic white. And I've measured this to be 8.5 centimeters wide by 12.5 long, okay? And then I've also got, let's see what else we have. I've got the different, I've used the cut the squares from the second smallest of the stitched shaped squares. All right, so that's not the very smallest one, but the next one up. So the second smallest is just the right size for us to be able to put all 6 of them on that piece of paper. Let me see how I want this to go. This one here, and then this one here. So I've got a couple of repeated ones, but we also have a green base to put this on, so I didn't want to add too much green on top because we have a lot of green underneath, and that'll give the card a little bit more balance. So I'm kind of moving these into the place I want them to be, so that there's about the same amount of space behind each one of these. Looks really good straight away, doesn't it? And it really does say Christmas, just with reds and greens. So I'm going to actually glue these into place. Now you could put them up on dimensionals if you wanted to. I'm not going to trouble myself with that. I'm just going to go and use some Tombow, or you could use any glue you want, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the back and glue them straight down. So I'm going to start with my corners. Doesn't really matter where you start, but you kind of want to have them laid out where you want them to give yourself a bit of a guide before you start. And I'm going to have this one down here in this corner. Now this one, I've got about the same amount of border here as I do down the bottom, so that's going to keep it centered. And then I'll put this one next to it, so we'll go on the back of that. I'm covering up those diagonal stripes that I didn't like as much. I mean, I don't dislike them, but I just think with the rest of this design, I just prefer more of the greens and reds, less stripiness. I don't mind the white and the red stripe. I think that works okay. I'm going to do the other end. So this one. And when I arrange squares like this, I try and keep similar, like solid colors away from each other, or the same colors. So say for example, I want these 2 red ones not to be next to each other. So I've got one down the bottom and the other one. And these 2 are also, you might notice these are also not next to each other. So, and then in the middle, I've kept it so I've got one solid one and one, the stripy one, so there's more white in that one. So let's pop these down here, and I'm just putting that into place. You can see the Tombow, you can kind of slide it around a little bit and get it into the right spot before you commit, before it has too long to dry. I'm going to move that a tiny bit this way. And then I'm going to put these guys here in the middle. So this one is I didn't want to, like I said before, too much green on top because we've got a lot more green down the bottom. And I'm just going to put this one so it's right in the middle there between these 2 squares. And that leaves us one space left for this little guy. So if you don't have a particular stamp set, think about what papers you have, because you may find that using just the right colors or certain designs. I mean, the other thing you can do if you don't have stamps, some of our stamp sets actually have dies that match, and you can just cut shapes straight from the paper. So that's another way to go. Now this is going to end up here. My original card had baby across it and it was landscape. I'm actually thinking I'm going to go portrait today, and I'm going to have this panel up on dimensionals. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to grab my dimensionals and pop one in each corner, a little bit in, so you can't really see it unless you're really looking hard. But we don't want them poking out from underneath because that just doesn't look right. I'm going to have one in the middle so it doesn't sag in the middle. And let's take those all off. And those are ready to go. And I'm going to stand up to position this so it's lined up in the middle. I've got more chance of getting it straight if I stand up. Does that look good? That's about right. All right, looking good. Now, if you wanted to, you could zip around the outside here with your garden green ink. In fact, I think I will, because I think that would look really nice. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Okay, you could use a sponge dauber and you'll get a nice soft sponged edge all the way around. Or if you don't want to do sponging, you can actually drag the edges of your paper straight across the ink pad. That's another way. We don't have garden green in blends. Otherwise, I would suggest going around this with a blend marker, but we don't have garden green as a blend, so I don't have that one. All right, so I'm thinking, what will I do? Will I sponge? Maybe I will. Give me a second, let me grab one of those. I do like myself some good sponges. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a sponge dauber here out of the pack, and I'm going to dip it straight into my garden green ink. And then I'm just going to apply that gently around the outside. So I'm just flicking it over the edge. And what this does, it darkens up the edge, which looks really nice, but it also makes the edge doesn't look as raw, if I should say that. So it makes it look finished. And that's really nice. And when we put this on our white card base, which is the color I'm going to use today, yeah, it just sits nicely and looks a lot more finished. How much you put over the edge is up to you. You can sort of lean it more on and get more of a sponged edge or less. Now, while I think of it, for anyone who's listening tonight, Stampin' Up! Has a joining special to join as a demonstrator this month, and it's something you might want to have a think about, because the promotion is almost at an end. It ends on the last day of October, and we're already up to the 25th, so oh my goodness, right? All right, I'm liking how this is looking. I do like that much better with the edge done. And at this point, I'm going to choose what to have in the middle. Okay, definitely it needs something going on. Now, if you didn't have any stamps, you could either punch or die cut a shape like so. All right, and you could actually put like a little Christmas tree in the middle. Now, we have lots and lots of die cuts for Christmas trees, that sort of thing, and that would look really nice. You don't have to have a sentiment on the outside, because you might decide you want to have what you want to say on the inside. That's a possibility. But I'm just looking here and thinking we have a few options. This is our beautiful festive glimmer paper, and this comes in very, very handy because it goes perfectly with this paper. It comes in real red, garden green, and granny apple green. Okay, those are the three greens, which are exactly the same colors that are in here. So if I wanted to, I could pop this with a greeting on it and pop that in the middle. How nice is that? It looks really good, doesn't it? The other option, of course, is I could use my vellum again, like I did on my card. And I'm actually going to grab, let me have a look here. I'm going to grab a punch. I've got a 2-inch punch, and I'll just show you how that would look. So this is a 2-inch. Now, the advantage of using a piece of vellum behind, or I could go with the next size up, which is 2 3/8. But the nice thing is you can put something inside that, and you can still see through the edges. Okay, so it looks really, it's very classy, and that's why I used it on my baby card, because you could still see the papers underneath. But today I am going to go towards this beautiful glimmer paper because I just love it. I think it's gorgeous paper. And then I'm going to have a piece that goes inside. So what greeting shall we have? We have a few options, but one I really like is in a set called Peaceful Season. And this is Peaceful Season here. This Peace and Joy would look really lovely, and that's the right size. This one also, Hoping This Season is Bright and Beautiful. Those would work as well. So I think if you don't have a lot of Christmas stamps, and some people don't, the one thing you probably do want to have is a good set of sentiments like this one. Okay, so this is a really good sentiment set. We've had other sentiment sets in other years, but this is the one they've got this year, and I really like it. So I'm actually putting my Peace and Joy here, and because I've got red around here, I'm going to use green for my words. So I'm keeping with the theme of, you know, red, green, red, green. We've got red for the glimmer paper, so we'll go green with the lettering. So let me just ink that up, and I'm going to move this out of here and center that. Isn't that nice? It's a very nice sentiment, and it goes with lots and lots of things. So super cool. Now, just to note, when you're using glimmer paper, you don't want to have, there's not many glues that stay. So Tombow, for example, will not work well with glimmer paper. It doesn't work great. But the two things that do work really well, glue dots and dimensionals. Okay, so I'm just going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of this, and they will stick onto the glimmer paper just fine. So let's line that up like so. And then this is going to go on here. Now, we could just glue it straight on, or you could have another set of dimensionals underneath if you like. Totally up to you. This is optional. So I'm going to have 3 this time. But if you don't want it sitting so high, you certainly could use other adhesive and have it sitting flat. All right, so let me just... I want this to be about the same amount over these 2 squares. So it really is centered, and about the same amount here as here. So that looks pretty good, actually. All right, looking nice. Okay, I'm going to have it on. I do want to add some bling, some gold to this, but I've also got a couple of other options. I do have some garden green pearls in the blooming pearls. So we have got a couple of other color options, and I'm going to put this on with my Tombow this time. As you guys know, I love using Tombow because it has that flexibility of not drying immediately, so you can move it before it dries. So I love that. All right, it's looking good. It's a simple little card, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with simple. Now, one option that looks really good, it's not out yet, but as of next month, we have some red and white baker's twine that is coming, and that would look really nice with this. Okay, that would be a great option. But we also, if you did want to use, some ribbon, for example, I could tie a very small bow and pop it on here. It's not necessary, but if I was going to use ribbon, I would pick a white ribbon or an iridescent and white ribbon like this one, okay, and then color it with my blends. Now, like I said, we don't have garden green, and I'm not a big fan of coloring ribbon red. It just doesn't ever look right to me. But we do have granny apple green, so I'm actually going to use just a piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to grab my granny apple green, and we're going to color. I'll use the darker one, and let's see how this colors up. So I'm going to just lay my blend down, and the reason I'm putting it on some scrap paper is I don't want to actually permanently color. This is permanent ink, and I don't want to permanently color my glass mat. Prefer not. So you always put down a piece of scrap paper if you're going to be doing this, because you want to not color something underneath and have it permanently that color. All right, let me see. We're going good here. How much of this to do? I find a reasonable amount, and if it's not enough, I can always do a bit more. Okay, so this is probably close to enough, or we might run out. Yep, gonna need a bit more. So yeah, it's always more than you think, but that's okay. I'd rather go that way than do too much and waste some. So I'm just going to do a little bit more, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so I reckon this will be about right now. All right, so I'm going to pull that through, and I'm going to bring my loops back because I want the bow to be fairly small. All right, this is how the green looks on there. It's really very pretty, and it matches up with this green in these dots and in these little stars absolutely perfectly. So I am going to use it. I'm going to make it even smaller though. So a good bow, you just fiddle around with it until you're happy. Pull on the loops and sort of tweak it. This ribbon is good. It's not super soft. Like, I find soft ribbon the easiest to tie, but because there's a little bit of stiffness to it, it actually sits quite well once you get it the right shape. So it's good ribbon to work with for that reason. I'm just going to trim off those. So we didn't waste much, so we've just got a tiny little bit there, and I'm going to pop that here, And I'm going to pop that on with a glue dot. And I've still got to add my bling as well. So we need to decide which bling I want to use. Okay, let's add that. So a very simple card today, but I love how all the colours, the red and the green works well. And it says Christmas, don't you think? I really think it does. I'm going to grab out, like I said, I've got some blooming pearls, which would look nice. But we also have my go-to with these is the metallic dots. The adhesive metallic, because you have some gold in here, and that would look really nice. If I was going to use the blooming pearls, they're in here as well. And see, these ones here are green, but they're also sort of shiny, a little bit iridescent, and I don't think they're quite right, so I will stick with these guys today. So let's add a couple. I'm going to have one down here, and then I'm going to have a small one. Or have I used up all the small ones? Surely not. I might have. Need to buy some more. That's okay. It's all right. I'm going to add one right about here, and then a last little guy up here. There we go. Happy with that. I think it looks really cute, and it's a very easy card. So I wanted to kind of get you to think about your paper as a way of actually creating a theme. In this case, I've used red and green and made a Christmas card. I did have a Christmas stamp, but if you don't, you could put a star or a Christmas tree or something in the middle, and that would also say Christmas. In the case of the blues, I didn't have any stamps, so I just used some dies. And of course, the pinks would be easy to do with that beautiful new Marbled Elegance paper that's coming out next month. So lots and lots of cool ideas for you today. I am not the last one in the hop, as far as I know. You can go to the next person in the hop. You'll see the list down below this video in the YouTube description. Just go down there and you'll see who the next person is to watch. And some of the girls here are just so talented and so clever, and I love seeing what they come up with every month. So thanks for watching my video today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll be back again next month with some other fabulous creations for you. Have a great month. See you soon. Bye.